Husband is shocked when his wife reveals that she had an affair with her boss to secure a promotion to manager. It delves into husband's immediate emotional turmoil, his feelings of betrayal, and his struggle to comprehend the situation. In the quiet of their suburban living room, the air was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the usual warmth that filled the space. Clarissa sat rigidly on the edge of the sofa, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Across from her, Jordan, her husband of 5 years, perched on the armchair, his expression a mix of confusion and concern. "Jordan, there's something I need to tell you," Clarissa began, her voice barely above a whisper. She had rehearsed this conversation 100 times in her head, but now, faced with the reality of the moment, words seemed elusive. Jordan leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "What's wrong, Clarissa? You've been distant all week. Is everything okay at work?" Work. The word echoed in Clarissa's mind, a reminder of the turmoil that had led to this moment. She had recently been promoted to a managerial position at the marketing firm where she worked, a step she had long aspired to. But the path she had taken to get there was one she never imagined she would tread. "It's about my promotion," she began, her voice faltering. "There's more to it than I've let on." Jordan's expression shifted from concern to curiosity. "What do you mean?" "You earned that position, Clarissa. You worked hard for it." Clarissa shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. The truth was a heavy burden, and with each word, she felt its weight more acutely. "It's not that simple. I made a mistake, Jordan. A terrible mistake." Jordan sat up straighter, his eyes searching hers for an explanation. "Clarissa, you're scaring me. What happened?" Taking a deep breath, Clarissa forced herself to meet Jordan's gaze. "I slept with my boss, Jordan. It was the only way I thought I could get the promotion." The room fell into a stunned silence. Jordan recoiled as if the words were a physical blow. His face drained of color, and for a moment, he just stared at her, disbelief etched across his features. "You what?" His voice was a mix of hurt and anger, a stark contrast to the gentle tone he always used with her. Clarissa's tears spilled over, tracing hot paths down her cheeks. "I know how it sounds. I'm so sorry, Jordan. It was the biggest mistake of my life. I felt trapped, under pressure, and I thought that was the only way. But I was wrong. So wrong." Jordan stood up abruptly, pacing the room with a hand running through his hair. "How could you do this, Clarissa? To us? To our marriage?" Clarissa sobbed, her body shaking with the intensity of her regret. "I don't know. I don't know. I just thought it was what I had to do to succeed. But I see now how misguided I was. I've ruined everything." Jordan stopped pacing, his eyes dark with a mixture of emotions. "You didn't just betray me, Clarissa. You betrayed yourself, your values. How do we come back from this?" Clarissa had no answer. The truth was a chasm that had opened up between them, wide and seemingly insurmountable. All she could do was sit there, amidst the ruins of the life they had built together, wondering if there was any way to mend what had been so irrevocably broken. The morning light crept through the blinds, casting long shadows across the room where Jordan had spent a sleepless night on the couch. His mind was a whirlwind of emotions, anger, betrayal, disbelief. The revelation of Clarissa's affair for a promotion hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Clarissa had retreated to the bedroom, her sobs muffled by the closed door. She was trapped in her own storm of guilt and regret, her mind replaying the conversation with Jordan over and over. She had expected anger, but the deep hurt in his eyes was something she was unprepared for. In the kitchen, Jordan mechanically fixed himself a cup of coffee, his movements sluggish, as if he was moving through water. The house, once filled with the comforting routine of their life together, now felt alien, each room a reminder of a trust broken. He sat at the kitchen table, staring blankly at the wall. The questions circled in his mind like vultures. How long had it been going on? Did she have feelings for her boss? Was the promotion even worth it? But the question that haunted him the most was whether their marriage was a lie. Meanwhile, Clarissa sat on the edge of their bed, her eyes red and swollen from crying. She knew she had to face Jordan, to try to explain, to apologize, even though she knew no words could undo what she had done. Gathering her courage, she left the bedroom and found Jordan in the kitchen. Their eyes met, a silent acknowledgement of the chasm that now lay between them. Clarissa took a step forward, her voice barely audible. "Jordan, can we talk?" Jordan looked up, his expression guarded. "What's left to say, Clarissa? I know I've hurt you. I've hurt us. And I'm so sorry," she said, her voice trembling. "I never meant for any of this to happen. It started as just a way to get ahead at work, but I lost myself in the process." Jordan's grip on his coffee cup tightened. "And that justifies it? You lost yourself? What about what we had, what we built together?" Clarissa shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "It doesn't. Nothing can justify what I did. I was selfish, and I've ruined the best thing in my life." They sat in silence, the air thick with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. Jordan finally spoke, his voice heavy with pain. "I don't know if I can get past this, Clarissa. You didn't just cheat on me, you cheated on everything we stood for." Clarissa nodded, accepting his words. "I know. And I wouldn't blame you if you can't forgive me. I can't even forgive myself." The conversation lingered, but no resolution came. They were two people, lost in the aftermath of a decision that had shattered their world. As the morning turned to afternoon, the house remained silent, a stark reminder of the distance that had grown between them. Clarissa knew she had to give Jordan space and time to process everything. As she retreated back to the bedroom, she realized that this was just the beginning of a long and painful journey, one that might not have a happy ending. The following days passed in a blur for Jordan, each one a repetition of the last, waking up on the couch, going to work with a heavy heart, and returning to a home that no longer felt like his own. The silence between him and Clarissa was deafening, a constant reminder of the chasm that had opened up in their once happy marriage. Jordan's colleagues noticed the change in him. The once cheerful and engaged man was now withdrawn, his usual enthusiasm replaced by a somber demeanor. He brushed off their concerns with vague excuses, not ready to share the turmoil that was consuming him. At home, Clarissa tried to bridge the gap, making small attempts to talk to Jordan, to explain her side, to express her remorse. But every conversation ended in an awkward silence or a muffled sob from her side. The weight of her betrayal hung over them, an invisible barrier that neither knew how to dismantle. One evening, Jordan returned from work to find Clarissa sitting at the dining table, her laptop open in front of her. "I've been thinking," she started hesitantly as he walked in. "Maybe we should consider seeing a marriage counselor. Maybe they can help me understand how to fix this." Jordan paused, considering her suggestion. A part of him wanted to lash out, to reject her attempts at mending what seemed irreparably broken. But another part, a part that still remembered the love and the good times, wanted to find a way back to her. "I don't know, Clarissa," he finally said, his voice weary. "Can counseling really fix what's happened? Can it make me forget?" "I don't expect it to make you forget," Clarissa replied softly. "I just hope it might help us find a way to move forward, whether together or apart. I owe you that much, at least." Jordan nodded slowly, the idea sinking in. He didn't have the answers, and perhaps a professional could provide some guidance. "Okay," he agreed, "we can try." The first session was awkward. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, their body language defensive. The counselor, a middle-aged woman with a kind face, listened as they took turns sharing their perspectives. Clarissa spoke of her ambition, the pressures of her job, and how she had lost herself in the pursuit of success. Jordan spoke of his betrayal, his trust shattered, and his struggle to reconcile the woman he loved with the actions she had taken. As they talked, Jordan began to see the depth of Clarissa's remorse. She wasn't making excuses, she was trying to understand her actions and their consequences. It didn't erase the pain, but it made him see her in a different light. In the weeks that followed, they continued their sessions. Slowly, the wall between them started to crumble, brick by brick. They really talked, about their hopes, their fears, and their dreams. They discussed what had gone wrong in their marriage and how they had both contributed to its downfall. But the question of what came next remained unanswered. Could they rebuild their relationship on a foundation that had been so deeply cracked? Or was it better to part ways, to heal and grow separately? As Jordan lay awake one night, staring at the ceiling, he realized that the answer wasn't going to come easily. It would take time, effort, and a lot of soul-searching. But for the first time since Clarissa's confession, he felt a glimmer of hope, a possibility that, regardless of the outcome, they would both come out of this stronger and wiser. In the weeks that followed, the counseling sessions became a regular part of Jordan and Clarissa's life. Each session peeled back layers of their relationship, exposing both painful truths and forgotten strengths. Jordan began to understand the complex interplay of ambition and vulnerability that had driven Clarissa's actions, while Clarissa confronted the full impact of her betrayal on their marriage. Amidst this emotional excavation, Jordan found himself grappling with a mix of emotions. Anger and hurt still lingered, but they were now tempered with moments of empathy and understanding. He was beginning to see Clarissa not just as the woman who betrayed him, but as a whole person, flawed and struggling. Clarissa, on her part, was doing the deepest soul-searching she had ever done. The sessions forced her to confront uncomfortable truths about herself, her relentless pursuit of success at any cost, her willingness to compromise her values, and the realization that she had lost sight of what truly mattered in her life. One evening, after a particularly intense session, they found themselves sitting in their backyard, a place where they had shared many happy moments in the past. The air was filled with the faint scent of jasmine, and the stars above were like pinpricks in the fabric of the night sky. "I never stopped to think about what I was doing," Clarissa said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was so caught up in the race, in proving myself, that I didn't see the cost until it was too late." Jordan listened, his gaze fixed on the night sky. "I understand the pressure, the ambition. But I can't understand the choice you made. It feels like our entire life together was just not enough for you." Clarissa turned to him, tears glistening in her eyes. "It was never about our life not being enough. I was the one who wasn't enough. I felt like I had to prove something, not just at work but to myself. But I was so wrong, and I hurt the most important person in my life." They sat in silence for a while, each lost in their own thoughts. The night air was cool, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves around them. It was a moment of calm, a respite from the storm that had engulfed their lives. "Where do we go from here?" Jordan finally asked, his voice tinged with a weariness that came from months of emotional turmoil. "I don't know," Clarissa admitted. "I want to make things right, but I also understand if you can't move past this. I love you, Jordan, and that's why I want what's best for you, even if that means letting you go." Jordan looked at her, a mix of sadness and affection in his eyes. "I don't know if I can move past it either. But I'm willing to try, for both of us. We owe it to ourselves to see where this path leads." As they sat there, under the starlit sky, they both understood that the road ahead would be long and uncertain. But for the first time since the revelation, they felt a sense of togetherness in their journey, a shared commitment to uncovering the future of their relationship, whatever it may hold. The passage of time brought a subtle shift in Jordan and Clarissa's relationship. The raw wounds of betrayal had begun to heal, replaced by a cautious understanding. The counseling sessions, once a battleground for their pain and frustration, now served as a sanctuary where they could unravel their deepest fears and hopes. Jordan found himself caught between the lingering shadows of the past and the faint light of a possible future. He was learning to understand Clarissa's motivations, her struggles, and her profound remorse. Yet, the scar of her betrayal remained, a silent reminder of what had been lost. Clarissa, for her part, was undergoing her transformation. The facade of the ambitious career woman had crumbled, revealing a person who was deeply introspective and earnestly seeking redemption. She understood that the path to forgiveness was not a straight line but a winding road filled with moments of doubt and realization. One evening, as autumn painted the trees in hues of orange and red, Jordan and Clarissa sat on their front porch, a ritual that had become their time for reflection and connection. The air was crisp, and the sky was a tapestry of twilight colors. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything that's happened," Jordan started, his voice steady but soft. "And I realize that while I can't change the past, I can decide what to do with our future." Clarissa turned to him, her eyes searching his. "What are you saying, Jordan?" "I'm saying that I'm willing to give us another chance," he said, his words carefully chosen. "But it can't be the same as before. We need to rebuild, to start anew, with honesty and openness at the core of our relationship." Tears welled up in Clarissa's eyes, a mixture of relief and gratitude. "I don't know what to say, except thank you. Thank you for this chance. I know I don't deserve it, but I promise you, I will do everything to make this work." Jordan nodded, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "I know it won't be easy, and there will be days when doubt will creep in. But I believe that we owe it to ourselves to try." As they sat there, discussing their future, they talked about the need for new boundaries, the importance of individual growth, and their shared values that had once brought them together. They spoke of taking things slowly, of rebuilding trust step by step, and of learning to fall in love with each other again. The conversation stretched into the night, and for the first time in months, they felt a sense of hope, a belief that their relationship could emerge stronger from the trials it had endured. In the weeks that followed, Jordan and Clarissa began to chart their new course. They spent time together, not as husband and wife trying to salvage a marriage, but as two individuals learning to understand and appreciate each other anew. As the season changed, so did their relationship, growing stronger and more resilient. They learned to celebrate small victories, a shared laugh, a candid conversation, a quiet evening spent in each other's company. The journey was far from over, but as they stood together, hand in hand, facing the uncertain future, they knew they had found a new horizon, one where forgiveness and love could bloom once more.